Have you ever been driving around Lee Summit and wondered what's that going to be? What's being built there? Wow, that went up fast. The Development Minute is here to help, highlighting some of the newest projects in Lee Summit, Missouri. More single-family homes are coming to Lee Summit. Orchard Woods, located in North Lee Summit off of Northeast Lakewood Way, will have 34 lots. Woodland Oaks next to Legacy Park on the corner of Colburn and Blackwell will have 42 lots. And Bailey Farms in South Lee Summit off of Ranson Road will have 3 phases with over 200 lots. Construction of new homes is set to begin in 2024. Luxury living and modern housing just north of downtown Lee Summit is coming. Trilogy Apartments on the corner of Northwest Ward Road and Donovan Road will have 323 units, a clubhouse with a deluxe coffee bar, a large fitness studio with a rock climbing wall, and an outdoor terrace with a heated saltwater pool and pickleball court. Whataburger is expanding to South Lee Summit off of Missouri 150 Highway and 291. The orange and white circa 1950s burger chain offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner, from burgers and chicken sandwiches to biscuits and pancakes. It is slated to open in 2024. The 3.9 million square foot mixed-use project Discovery Park has begun. The 270-acre site near I-470 off of Northwest Colburn Road and Northeast Douglas Street will consist of retail, restaurants, office spaces, entertainment, and luxury multifamily housing. It will also offer a one-of-a-kind Riverwalk district, more than 5 miles of nature trails, and a 4-acre recreational lake to kayak and paddleboard. The first phase of the project, The Village, is set to begin construction in 2024. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Development Minute. If you found this video informative, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on upcoming developments, events, and city services.
I'm Assistant Chief Jim Eden.
And I'm Battalion Chief Ben Hicks.
And today we're at Lee Summit Fire Station 3. Fire Station 3 was part of the 2016 no tax increase general obligation bond for public safety initiatives. The station was built and occupied in August of 2020. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we've not been able to give tours or have an actual ribbon cutting. So we want to invite you in today to give you the opportunity to see what goes on within the Lee Summit Fire Department station.
Let's go take a tour. This is our admin side of the facility. We use this side mainly for offices. We have a lot of work during the day, whether it's training or doing reports or just generally taking care of the shift that we need to do. At this particular station, Station 3, we do have an assistant chief that works out of here. That person has their own office where they need to manage what's going on throughout the day with the shift and staffing, and as well as running calls out of here. The captain has their own office as well. What the captain does is at this specific station is in charge of both the fire truck that's here as well as the ambulance. And so with all those personnel responsibilities as well as running calls and reports, that's where they work out of. And generally for the rest of the crew, which is somewhere around 5 to 6 individuals, we have rooms to write reports, and we have additional training rooms and other rooms where people can work. Walking into our living area, I think it's important to recognize that we work 48-hour shifts. So in the evenings, after 5 o'clock, after work is done, we may have the opportunity to catch a game or something else as long as we're not running calls. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. When we go into our kitchen, I think this gives you a great reason to know why we go to the grocery store. When you see fire trucks at the grocery store, what we're doing. Well, so for 2 days working for 48 hours, we buy all our meals at the grocery store, and then we come in here and cook. Just like you guys do at home. So everybody has their own fridge on each shift as well as their own pantry, and then we cook those meals here. Going into the sleeping side of things, we've got a couple different things that are significant. We have our own laundry room, which again is important when we're here for 48 hours. The opportunity to wash and clean our clothes and bedding is very important for hygiene. And walking into where our beds are, we keep the kind of sleeping quarters over on one side of the building. It gives us both easy access out to where our fire apparatus are, as well as kind of keeping it a little bit quieter for those people that have been up all night running calls. We have 11 bedrooms here at this station, and the reason we built it with so many bedrooms is we want to give ourselves as a city the opportunity to expand. So if we need to put another apparatus here or numerous other people working at this station, that's already in place as far as infrastructure goes, and we don't need to go back and try to make it bigger or better, and that's really important for us, especially because the old station was so small. Back out on the apparatus floor, we have doors facilitated as many places as possible, so that way when we're sleeping at night and a call comes out, we can make our way out fairly quickly to get out onto the truck if we need to and run a call. On the other side of the station, we kind of have other stuff that we may want to keep separated if we want to. Physical fitness is very important to us as firefighters. So in order to better ourselves and make sure we're as healthy as we can to do this job, we have our own gym facility here that we kind of go throughout the day when we can and get an opportunity to come in and work out. Our goal when we run calls, when we get back to the station after calls, our goal is to get ready to go back as soon as we can to run another call. So we have the opportunity or capability here to fill up our air tanks. So you see firefighters wear the big air tanks on their backs and they use those in a fire. We can come back and fill those up and make sure that we're ready to go again when we're wanting to go run another call. We have our own workshop here. We work on a lot of our tools and making sure that everything's clean and operational, and this gives us the capability to do that, again, to make sure that we have everything we need and we're as capable as we can be running calls throughout the city. Cancer prevention is very important in the fire service right now. Because of that, we have an extractor machine, and what this does is gives us the capability when we come back from a fire, we can put our bunker gear into this machine and get all that really nasty crud off of our gear. Again, kind of getting back to that cancer prevention mode, allowing us to be as clean as we possibly can for the next call. And finally is our bunker gear room. We each have our own individual locker. This gives us the opportunity to store our gear when we're not here working in between shifts, as well as keep a clean extra set on here in case we do run a fire and we need to clean our current gear. Typically, this is where your day starts off at the fire station. You come in and get your gear and put it on wherever you're working that day, and then you end the same way, bring your stuff back to your locker to go home after working. This is Med 3. This ambulance just currently moved into the station from Station 7. Station 3, since we've had it built, has turned into one of our busiest stations in the city. Therefore, we wanted to provide the best care and the closest unit as we could. So we moved one of our ambulances up, and this became Med 3 for this particular instance. Out of this station, we also have Pumper 3. And that's the fire apparatus that they utilize to run the calls on this west end of the city. The last vehicle that you see is the chief's vehicle. We have 2 shift chiefs on shift every day, and they split the city. And this chief running out of this station typically covers the west and south area of the city, while our chief of Station 2 covers kind of that northeast section of our city, and they divide it up evenly.
Thank you for going on a tour with us today. If you have any other questions about the Lee's Summit Fire Department, please go to our webpage at lsfire.net or follow us on Facebook at Lee's Summit Fire Department.
Thanks for joining us on the tour.
Good questions. Yes, Councilmember Edson.
Since this is a cooperative agreement, is this similar to like when we buy things through the market?
It'd be similar. We don't buy through them.
We moved to Lee's Summit right before we had our 3rd child, and we ended up raising all 4 of our children here. And it's been just such a great place to raise kids. Well, I'd been involved in government and politics for a long time, different aspects of it. And then when I was raising my kids, I was very involved in different community organizations and involved with the schools. And as my kids got older and I saw them and their friends starting to leave the community, I realized that there were some things that needed to be done in order to attract younger people back to Lee's Summit, and I wanted to be part of that conversation. We need to work on economic development and keep trying to get more jobs here that pay well so that they will attract our kids. We have this great school system that we're all paying for, and yet our kids graduate and leave. We need to work with the school districts and with the businesses to create an environment that keeps our kids here. We have a great community with great housing, but we also don't have enough housing that is attainable for middle class. People who are just starting in the workforce can't afford to buy a house here at this point in time. If you take your average firefighter and your teacher and they're married, it's very hard for them to buy a house in Lee's Summit. So some of my priorities when I ran were economic development, attainable housing, and public safety. When I ran 6 years ago, our police officers and our firefighters were some of the worst paid public safety folks in the metro area. And in the past 6 years, We've done a great job of getting their pay up, getting their benefits up, and now there will be a public safety tax, which will be a game changer for Lee Summit. It will help us to attract and retain new talent for the coming years. All communities are having a hard time recruiting and retaining police and firefighters. So if we can be a place that they want to come and is desirable, it's going to be great for the well-being of our community. We need to make sure that not only are we paying people well, but that we have enough fire stations as the city grows. We need to make sure that we grow the police department. Something else I'm really proud of, the replacement of Fire Station 4 and 5. I started taking council members on tours of Fire Station number 4 to show them how badly a replacement for that station was needed. There are so many opportunities to get involved in this community, whether it's serving on a committee, whether it's participating in the Citizens Leadership Academy, which the city sponsors. It's easy to sit at home and complain and think you understand how it works, and then when you actually understand how it works, you have a better appreciation for it, and you'll want to get involved more. I just wanted to clarify that. I think Hillary did a great job. Thank you.
We will call to order the Lee Summit Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, April 11th, 2024. Could I get a roll call, please?
Mark Kitchens,
Present.
Jake Lovelace, Dana Arth,
Present.
Donnie Funk,
Present.
Terry Trafton,
Present.
Tanya Jonna Ford,
Present.
Chip Tuzinski, Randy Benbrick.
Present.
Thank you. We don't, I guess we do have a change to the agenda. Do we need to make that noted now, or can we just, because I think our published agenda that we received was, we're going to hear the UDO amendment, but now we're not? Just to continue, if we,
So did we need to change
So, I think, sorry, this thing is not cooperating. When you get to that item, I think you could just explain the status of it and move past it. You don't need a motion for continuance because we're going to have to restart, basically.
okay, so we will look for a motion to approve the agenda as published.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as published.
Second.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Could I get a vote, please, on approval of the agenda?
Mark Kitchens,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Donnie Funk,
Yes.
Terry Trafton,
Yes.
Tanya Jonna Ford,
Yes.
Randy Benbrick.
Yes.
The agenda has been approved. We're at our point for public comments, and I'm really excited because we have a public comment at the Planning Commission. I see you smiling out there. Come on up and give us your public comment. Is it Lyman? Yes. That's perfect. Right there, that microphone will work. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Hey, I just wanted to come and thank you for your service, first of all. And then second, ask for some consideration for additional pickleball courts within the city. So I'm a relatively new player. I've been playing for about a year and a half, but have enjoyed it so far. With the coming warm weather, I'm starting to count up how many courts, pickleball courts there are available here in Lee Summit, and are an unfortunately low number for what I expect to be a very busy summer of pickleball. So I would advocate for more. There was just some new ones recently put in down at Osage Trails. So I know from looking at the visual of that site in particular, there is more room for more. And again, the cost should be a fairly known quantity as you just put it in. I know as well as looking at the capital budget for Parks and Rec, there is a pickleball complex, apparently in planning stages. I would love to know more about that as soon as that is available. I know there's a lot of good locations for pickleball around here. So other than that, that's my public comment. If there's anything I can do to advocate further, I would love to know what that might be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have anything listed that we know of like how many courts there are or anything like that?
I mean, we certainly could get the Director of Parks and Recreation to assist and get some information to you as well, and we'll connect you with that. I do believe he's had some conversations recently about expanding and adding some pickleball courts throughout the city. I'm not sure offhand the exact location, but we can certainly make that connection for you. Really.
Thank you, Amy.
Mr. Chair, if I could, very quickly. Amy, I guess David too, are there any vacancies on the board for the parks for the city?
I am not aware.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think you would be.
That might be something
I'll
also.
put that in the ether, when we have people who are invested in it, maybe, putting action into it too would be a great deal. But anyways, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to our, sure, Mr. Trafton.
All right. Hello. Hi. Yeah, I would appreciate the comment and recognize as someone who's trying to play pickleball and haven't been able to because there's not enough courts in town. But I did find one, actually. I was really surprised, so I was super excited, but have not been able to go over there. I think it would be great if we could hear from the Parks Department about their plan for pickleball courts in the city. So I just want to echo support for the comment. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on for approval of our action letter, and that is the action letter for March 28th Planning Commission action letter.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the March 28th Planning Commission action report.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Can I get a vote for approval of the action letter?
Mark Kitchens,
Yes.
Arth,
Yes.
Donnie Funk,
Yes.
Terry Trafton,
Yes.
Ford. Yes. Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
Action letter has been approved. We will move on to our first public hearing, and that is, we will open up application PL 2024-008 preliminary development plan, U.S. Bank facade update, 1599 Northeast Douglas Street, U.S. Bank applicant. Anyone wishing to give testimony or speak on behalf of this application, please stand and be sworn in at this time. Thank you. The applicant has a presentation for us. That would be great. If you could give us your name and address for the record, please.
Bennett Johnson with RSP Architects in Minneapolis, representing U.S. Bank.
Thank you.
I wanted to go through just the preliminary of what the changes are we're making. This is the existing bank building. Don't know how to, there it is. So we're updating the facade for both purely aesthetic reasons to update the building and for branding of the new U.S. Bank branding image that they are doing throughout the country. And this entails what we're doing to this project, this building, is we're adding the sign facade around the entrance. We have the branding blue column at the entrance door. We're repainting the existing stucco underneath all the windows to freshen that up. And we're adding a new soffit material underneath. It's a wood grain soffit material underneath. That's this one here. So this is the main corner that is what the public sees as it drives by, and the entrance and the two-sided sign band. And then this is in the parking lot looking to the northwest. Again, the main entrance, or I should say northeast, looking at the main entrance with that sign band. And it's a metal panel system. All the white, the blue, and this gray post are a metal panel system. We had to add this metal post to support the new structure for this sign band. And these are the colors. So the blue for the entry post, the white for the sign band, and the gray for the little pieces of the building. I think that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you.
You want me to leave it on?
That's gonna be problems.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. Okay, so good afternoon, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Ian Truffren, planner. This afternoon, I'm presenting application PL 2024-008, a preliminary development plan for U.S. Bank. The project is located at 1599 Northeast Douglas Street at the southeast corner of Douglas and Mulberry. And the project is located in the CP2 Commercial Zoning District. The Ignite Future Land Use Map identifies this property for the commercial land use. And the site itself is located on about 1.23 acres of land with a roughly 3,400 square foot building. The project in its totality includes a parking lot resurfacing and the exterior facade update, which includes architectural metals, which is why we are here before you today. Architectural metals in the UDO require approval from the Planning Commission outside of specific metal building locations throughout the city, and this is one of those. So moving over to the elevations, looking at the western elevation, which is the front of the building, you can see the white panels above the entrance and the blue and gray ones to the left. Also included in this facade update are some repaintings of the trim above and below the windows and along the trim towards the roof line. And then for the western facade, the metal composition will result in about 27.3% metal if you take a look at the total facade area and compare that with the amount of metal that will be included. Moving over to the northern facade, that number drops to about 10.7%. Once again, you can see the white metal located on the tower at the right side of the facade, and then additional painting below the window and above the drive-through lanes to the left. From the eastern elevation, the notable change here, more painting, but also the former teller window will be bricked over with the same brick material and styling that's already existing, so it'll just be a continuation of that. And then, of course, more painting along the trims underneath the roof line. And then from the final angle from the south, once again, more painting, new signage along those drive-through lanes, kind of replicating that same blue and white color scheme found on the front facade. And you can kind of see the reveal of the tower off to the left as well. So, looking at compatibility throughout the surrounding area, there are two other examples of similar metal materials, most notably the BOK Financial Building on the right. It's located directly across Douglas, kind of a little bit more to the north. It's also a financial institution that utilizes the similar composite metal panel system in a very similar way in terms of how it's kind of focused around the main entrance to the building. B&B Theaters kind of uses a more ribbed metal material, but it's kind of another example of that architectural metal being incorporated in the surrounding commercial zones. So with that, staff is recommending approval of this application and provided two conditions. Yes. Staff would like to recommend approval with these two conditions, and also staff would like to enter into record exhibits, Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 15. Thank you.
Exhibits 1 through 15 noted and entered into the record. Thank you. Any comments or questions from the public before we go to the commission? Commissioner Kitchens, anything on your end?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one item for the city. Help me out here. Where were they outside of our standards that we had to have it approved?
In terms of the architectural metal materials,
Is that the only thing, though?
as in the only item that has to be approved by the Planning Commission,
Yes.
I'm not entirely certain about in totality.
You got a bunch of heads nodding behind
is.
you. I think you're
It
on the
is.
right path, pal. Okay, so this is going back to something that I think we've run into a few times on Planning Commission. I'll save that for discussion, but that was what I was kind of just squinting at, going, all right then. But thank you, great job, appreciate it. Amy, yeah.
Good evening, Amy Nassif, Deputy Director of Development. It is something that we see on a regular basis for variance and modification, so we actually are in process of researching and updating some best practices for use of metal, and we'll be bringing that forward.
Excellent. I know that's come up a few times, and we've even
Absolutely.
mentioned, let's change the UDO on that one, and I really appreciate your update there, Amy. That's exactly what I like to hear. So thank you. That was my only question. Other than that, it looks good. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Arth.
No questions.
Commissioner Trafton. Thank you. Commissioner Jana Ford.
I have a question. I'm curious. On the very first slide from the applicant, you had mentioned that interior and exterior work is considered Tier 3. What defines Tier 3? Like, what does that extend?
It's internal to US Bank, the amount of remodeling involved. So each tier, if it's a Tier 1, it's a new construction. So Tier 2 is a major remodeling of the entire facility. Tier 3, minor remodel, and so on.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Benbrook.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I got a question for the applicant. I'm well familiar with ACM metal panels. Your wood look panel, you did not provide any details or any kind of specification on it. I know Behringer is starting to make a wood look metal panel now that's very cheap and flimsy. Can you give me more details as to what, since this is kind of a throughout their whole company, what they use for their wood look panel? Is this a bent? Oh, sorry. Is this kind of a bent panel, where they put creases in it to make it more rigid?
Right, each panel. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, each panel, you know, I can't remember exactly the width, but, you know, they have a bent return at each seam of each panel joints.
Okay.
To create stiffness.
And are you going to have some vents in there, or is it not needed in that location?
That, I do not know. I don't think there's any vents in that area because it's open to the roof above, behind the sign.
Okay. And do you, by chance, happen to know the warranty on that product, the Hunter Douglas product?
I do not. I can get that information to you if you want.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's the only question I had. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. If I get it right, was it Ian?
Yes, sir.
Ian, do we have to do anything? I don't remember any existing pieces of this facility, if there were anything with the signs. Do we capture the signs in this?
So not as part of the preliminary development plan. Upon first look at the PDP that was submitted, the signage can be approved administratively. They don't require any sort of exception for that or modification.
Perfect. Thank you. Did you have something else, Commissioner Janiford?
I did, thank you. Commissioner Brenbrook kind of reminded me of something in terms of the soffit. Are there any gutters off that canopy?
The gutters are built in because behind the sign is a complete new roof system, and the gutter is built into that new roof system, and it is going down. Let's see. I don't know his presentation here. It goes down next to the, oh no, I can't see it on that elevation. Okay. No, the elevation doesn't show it. To the right of it, I believe, but
This is the full submittal, so if you want to.
yeah.
Well, because I saw in the renderings, there's light fixtures, and typically making sure that there's no water that gets into that soffit cavity is critical.
No, it's a complete roof above. It's a flat roof up behind that sign. It's fully new. There was a little peaked little tower originally, and we took that off to build the sign canopy. But this detail, this is the, I can't move around very well on this thing. Here it is. This is the gutter, so everything coming off the roof of the sign goes into this gutter.
Okay, and that carries on over to the right side of that elevation?
I believe so. It doesn't show up, obviously, sorry. Because it goes back, it's not showing it, they're not showing it on here, but it's gonna go back down the side of the building on one of the two ends, here or here, when
Okay,
it returns back.
so it's considered as like an independent roof, at least where that signage is?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's lower than the regular, the rest of the roof of the building.
Okay.
You can see.
Thank you, Chair.
You. Anything else from the commission? We will close the public hearing and we will open up for discussion. Mr. Kitchens, anything on discussion? Commissioner Arth?
No.
Trafton?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I appreciate the updating of the facade of this building. I think it'll really improve the look of the area. And so I'm looking at the current state of the building, and I think it's a big improvement. So thank you for your efforts to do that on your own. I think it's always nice when we have companies that like to update the look of their building, for it really enhances the community, especially that corridor of the city. There's some other businesses I could think of that if you could help them, that would be lovely, directly north of you. That would be nice, but I do appreciate your efforts, and I want to applaud you for that, so thank you.
You, Commissioner Jana Ford.
No comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Benbrook?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just want to, I appreciate you bringing in the sample. I'm familiar with the Hunter Douglas soffit material, so I know it's going to be a good product, and since it's not directly in UV, I'm not too worried about the warranty. I know it'll hold up pretty good. So I do appreciate you having that for us. We don't always get that, so thank you. That's all I had, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks to the applicant for bringing a nice update, as Commissioner Trafton said, to the area. It's very nice. Commissioner Jana Ford, could you lead us in a motion, please?
Absolutely, Chair. I move to recommend approval of application PL 2024-008, Preliminary Development Plan, U.S. Bank Facade Update, 1599 Northeast Douglas Street, U.S. Bank applicant.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Could I get a vote on the application, please?
Mark Kitchens.
Yes.
Dana Art.
Yes.
Yes.
Barry Trafton.
Yes.
Tony Adonis.
Yes.
Yes.
The application has been recommended for approval. We will move on to our next public hearing, and we will open up application PL 2024-061, vacation of right-of-way, vacation of a 20-foot wide strip of right-of-way, Chipman Road, located along the south boundary of the plat titled Homestead Ranches, generally located a half-mile south of Southwest Shear Road along the east side of Southwest Pryor Road, abutting 2041 Southwest Pryor Road, City of Lee Summit applicant. Anyone wishing to provide testimony and speak on behalf of this application, please stand and be sworn in at this time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Hector Soto, Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 13.
Exhibits 1 through 13 noted and entered into the record.
Okay, so to orient everyone to the site, so most of you are familiar, I'm sure, with the Pryor Road corridor. It is an area that's primarily agricultural in nature. The area that we're more specifically focusing on today as part of this application is in the vicinity of the Eel Creek subdivision. As you can see here on the zoning map, the majority of the area is zoned agricultural, but there are a number of residential uses that are within those agriculturally, in some cases platted, other cases not platted lots. And again, off to the southwest, we do see the Eel Creek subdivision. Our comprehensive plan, reflective of those types of uses, our comprehensive plan to show that the future recommended land use for that area is generally residential in nature. So a little bit of history on how we got here. So 1960, in the fall of that year, the Andy Griffith Show will kick off an 8-year run on CBS. And the spring of that year, prior to that, the Homestead Ranches subdivision was platted. It's 13 platted lots, ranging between 5 and 10 acre lots. Kind of piano key type of layout. The north end and south end, you've got the 5 acre tracts with a few 10 acre tracts in the middle. So as part of this plat, there was a quarter-mile section of 20-foot wide right-of-way that was dedicated, but as you can see here, there was never a public street that was constructed in that area. So this kind of shows you a close-up look of that plat, the extent of that right-of-way through that plat, and then how it corresponds to an aerial to see that the majority of that, again, is just agriculturally used property. The one immediate, the lone improved lot in the vicinity, it would be here fronting on Pryor Road for a single-family residence. That particular residence is served by a driveway that is shared between the PRI property which surrounds it, and again, sure, it's a shared driveway, so there is a driveway that serves a single-family residence that branches off here with a field access essentially to the remaining PRI property. So just the only thing of note, that reason why I bring this up is that currently kind of in the magenta color shows the limits of that existing driveway relative to the right-of-way that's being vacated, which lies to the immediate north. So as part of the Pryor Road widening project, this driveway will be relocated and reconstructed within this highlighted rectangular area, which is part of that right-of-way, which will revert back to private ownership for this single-family residential lot to the north, so that the new driveway will solely serve the single-family residence and will be located on the property on which it currently serves. So, so the city gains benefit in that. It cleans up some of our inventory of unneeded right-of-way. It allows the residents here to have a driveway that serves them on their own property. And it also, the PRI property has, there are a couple thousand acres in the area, so there are multiple points throughout the area where agricultural access to this property can continue. So staff is recommending approval of the vacation of Chapman Road right-of-way as proposed, and I will yield to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Hector. Anyone in the public have comments on this application? I see none, so we will move to the commission for questions. I'm peeking back there. You kind of wiggled when we were talking about this. Okay, I just wanted to make sure you don't have anything you want to add? No, we're pro. Okay, okay. I just seen you wiggling, so I wanted to make sure. Commissioner Benbrook, any questions?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Hector, I'm assuming this right-of-way was originally developed to give access to the lots further in this land. You're saying it's all owned by PRI Development, so there is no concern about future access because they have enough attachment to the current roads, is that correct?
Correct, and in terms of our long-range, our thoroughfare master plan, in looking at that relative to the location of this, the location of a road in this area doesn't line up with our future plan. So if there's going to be a future connection, well, there will be a future connection when this area further develops. It wouldn't be here. So there would be a road that would primarily be further north along Pryor Road.
Okay, so you have a future, I guess, right-of-ways identified that do align more with the roads that are currently there, that when that is developed, that will become part of the access into those.
So you can see this kind of, this network that's laid out. These are all based on our adopted thoroughfare master plan. So the residence in question is here, the right-of-way in question is here. So here you can see where our best guesses, educated guesses as to where the best road network layout would be, and these orange lines depict residential collector roads through the area. So this would not be, based on our thoroughfare master plan, the ideal location for major connections to Pryor Road.
Perfect, thank you, Hector. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Jana Ford.
No questions, Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Trafton.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Arth.
No questions.
Commissioner Kitchens.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So with this homestead, this building there, are we sure there's not a lot of criminal activity going on right there that we need to look into before we move forward, or
Not that we're aware of.
not that you're aware of? Well, okay, well, then I think I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no other questions from the commission. We will open up for comments. Mr. Kitchens,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think we're free and clear of criminal activity.
You think you never know. You never know. Actually, I'm very, very grateful to the citizens who came in here today to watch and be part of this, so thank you for being here. We're going to run into a lot more of this, so I like to see the city siding on the side of the people who it affects. I think the staff did a fantastic job of that and taking and looking to care for the people of Lee Summit who are already here. As we move forward with this PRI deal, there's going to be a lot of development. And with that, there's going to be a lot of people affected. And that's just natural. It's healthy growth to the city. But I like to see us siding and taking care of the people who are already here first and getting their opinions and having people show up is really the first step to that. So thank you, staff, for that. And thank you for showing up.
Thank you. Commissioner Arts, anything?
No comments.
Not to interrupt you, Commissioner Trafton, but anything for you?
I was just checking the crime statistics for that area because I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
And I can report there's low crime there.
Thank you.
I do appreciate the residents trying to, get their own access to this. So I appreciate that they'll be able to have a new solely owned access to their property in light of the fact that the property around them will most likely be developed over the next 20 years. So I'm in full support of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jana Ford, nothing? Commissioner Benbrook?
No additional comments, just echo what's been said. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll thank staff for, I think we ran into, Hector, you've done about 10 of these here in the last few months of cleaning up these right-of-ways and getting things cleaned up. That's awesome, and thank you very much. We will look for Mr. Benbrook to give us a motion on this.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of application PL 2024061, vacation of right-of-way, vacation of a 20-foot wide strip of right-of-way, Chapman Road, located along the south boundary of the plat titled Homestead Ranches, generally located a half-mile south of Southwest Shearer Road, along the east side of Southwest Pryor Road, abutting 2041 Southwest Pryor Road, City of Lee Summit applicant.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and several seconds, so could I get a vote, please?
Art Kitchens,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Donnie Funk,
Yes.
Terry Trafton,
Yes.
Tanya Jana Ford.
Yes.
Yes.
And the application has been recommended for approval. We will move on to our last item of business, and we will open up application PL 2024-072, Unified Development Ordinance UDO Amendment, updates for temporary signage standards to Article 9 signs, City of Lee Summit applicant. This application is to be continued to a date certain of May 2nd, 2024. Could I get a motion from Mr. Trafton? Do we need a motion?
No, you don't need a motion.
May 9th.
Yes, so I don't think we need a motion. No action is needed from the
Okay.
commission because it'll be renoticed and we'll basically start fresh. So don't need to.
Or we're just going to continue it to May 9th, 2024? correct?
Actually, you don't need to continue at all. It'll
Okay.
just be renoticed and it'll appear on a future agenda without any action on your part.
Is it okay if I voice my opposition to continuing this?
Sure.
I was ready. I want it on the record. I was ready to move forward with sign UDO modifications because I'm all for them. So, thank you.
I want it noted on the record that I was not ready to hear Terry's recommendations.
So we are to the roundtable portion of our agenda. Any roundtable, Mr. Benbrook? We'll start down there.
I just want to say I'm all for more pickleball courts. I think the community's looking forward to them. We've had a great comment about it earlier. So.
You should have started off with thank you for our access cards.
That is true. I should have started with, I was going to end with the
We aren't supposed to let
cartwheels
people
and the
know that.
backflip off the podium up here, but since you spoiled it, now I'm out of the mood. No, thank you very much. I feel much safer.
Commissioner Jana Ford, anything for roundtable?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I am loving that people are, like applicants are bringing you more samples. Is it possible we could integrate that as a must, like as soon as we're doing a presentation, hand out samples if they have any? Hopefully, it's not an if, they do.
Staff is already requiring samples for all of our projects that come in that have the architecture.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Commissioner, go ahead, Commissioner Benbrook.
Sorry. I know at times when they do sample boards, there are architectural reviews, and I would be willing to make myself available if that is in the future.
Preston, you're waiting patiently. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been updating myself on the crime statistics in Lee Summit. Good to report there's not heavy crime here, so thank you. I am looking for, Amy, I love the updates to the UDO and the work that you and I want to say your whole team, because I know you guys, it's like a team effort to update those UDOs. So I'm excited about updating the UDOs for use of materials, especially around metal. So we see it all over, and it's unfortunate that this gentleman had to come and bring this before us when it could have been something handled through your office. So, and I'm sure your staff would prefer that as well. So anyway, I look forward to that coming forth. I don't know if we'll be able to get that on the May 9th agenda since I got signs delayed till then, but I'll look forward to that. Thank you, Chair.
Welcome. Just everybody prepare for May 9th and the sign UDO. Dana, you have anything?
I would just echo what Commissioner Trafton said.
Commissioner Kitchens.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I had the privilege of going to the Civil Air Patrol's yearly banquet that they held at the Young Eagles, the Eagles hangar out at the airport. So a lot of people don't know this. We have one of the winningest, I guess is the word, Civil Air Patrol cadet programs and squadron, meaning the adult program, in the nation. As a matter of fact, they were just recognized at the national events as being, for the third year running, one of the top programs in the country. They host basically the southern portion of the metro area as well. The next closest squadron's up in Platte. I didn't know any of this until my kids got involved with the Civil Air Patrol Cadet Program. Just like to shout out to my oldest son who made NCO of the year. I'm just going to say that. But I was at this banquet, and the VFW was there, and we solved some issues for the VFW with the school board and everything with the scholarship programs. One thing I didn't see who was invited was the director of the airport. Now, I sitting here with the Planning Commission, and we see the staff that is so involved that they're here at 6 p.m. on a Thursday and everything, and you're very dedicated to it, and as is the director of our airport, very dedicated as well. But I think a lot of things that we can do some outreach to the community don't necessarily need to be on the backs of the staff themselves. There's a lot of people who volunteer, the Planning Commission up here, City Council. So if the director was unable to make it, I would like to volunteer the commission as well as the council to stand in places for those people, because you guys are dedicated. You come out outside of hours and things like that. So if that ever arises, I think we'd like to be apprised of it and be able to represent just as well as anyone out there. Maybe not as educated as you all in the various portions, but quite frankly, you want to get home to your families, and it's a job, and I get that. For the council and the commission, though, we have a duty, we're honored, bound to go and help out in these situations. So it was a little disappointing to see the city not represented at that banquet, but our airport is becoming quickly a gem of the city. And I would like to see us as involved as possible with the local programs that actually support that same airport. So that's my 2 cents on the matter, and thank you for anyone who's listening, because I don't think it affects anyone in this room. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Commissioner Trafton, for another news report.
Oh, thank you. Update, crime's still low. I want to say I had the opportunity to see the new airport terminal. I didn't go to the groundbreaking, but I saw photos and I'm super excited. I was also excited to see that the Summit Academy is going to have that student program, the aerospace program, will have space in that terminal. So that was super exciting. I mean, I think that's cutting edge for the city of Lee Summit. But what I really came here to talk about tonight, if you guys got some time, is...
We don't.
I did want to congratulate our fellow commissioner, previous commissioner, Cinda Rader, who's now going to be council person for District 3. So I want to publicly acknowledge her contribution. I know our last meeting was her last meeting. So I look forward to interacting with her as a council person, as well as the other re-elected officials and then newly elected. So we have a couple new council members coming in, so it'll be nice to be able to interact with them around planning and development issues for the city. So thank you.
Thank you. You stole my thunder. I wanted to congratulate Cinda as well for being part of our team and moving, I don't know, as Mr. Benbrook said earlier today, we don't know if she got a promotion or a demotion. We don't know what she got, but congratulations to Cinda. Anything from staff that Terry has taken up a bunch of time?
Just one thing really quick. I just want to congratulate our planner, Ian Treffren, on his presentation tonight. This was his first presentation in front of the Planning Commission, and he did an excellent job. And thank you all for your questions and interaction with them.
Thank you. Shannon will update the May 25th agenda. Okay. Very good. We're adjourned. We're tired of this.